born with this choice, right? Sometimes we don't think we have that choice because we live in a victim mindset that prohibits us from recognizing that it's even a choice. But once we have the recognition of like, oh, I get to wake up every single day and be born again and choose to show up differently and choose to show up with a little bit more love and choose to show up with a little bit more light, then why would I choose any other path but that?
What is pain and good? Well, it's us identifying a situational experience as what we deem as good or not. But it could be bad to someone else if it's good to us, and it could be good to someone else if it's bad to us. So then it's like, well, it's all our own perception anyway, because you know, if I have a high pain tolerance and someone's like stamping on my toe, it's going to be painful for me, but for someone else it's nothing and they might enjoy it. So then it's like, well, there's really no such thing as good or bad. It's like we give it that. So then what is it? It's just like a range of emotions and feelings and sensitivities.
You know, the synchronicities that match up with you meeting someone else in this place at that time. It's because what I would like to believe in, and especially within my realm of like hypnosis work, when you feed your mind different ways of being, or you feed your mind the things that you dream of, it's often connected to feeling the way you want to feel, and your feeling is connected to like how you relate to the world, how you show up. People are attracted to frequency, they're attracted to feeling. And so when you're moving from a specific frequency based off what it is that you planted in the seeds of your mind, then you are going to, of course, attract someone who reflects that. We might consciously not be aware that we've both manifested these things, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're in this place in this time together. But it's through that progressiveness that bridges us together to those synchronicities.
Just quickly, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who still listens to the podcast. I started 4 years ago, and since then I've had over 1 million downloads. I get 5,000 downloads per month, and I've had over 200 different guests. So a massive thank you to everyone who still listens. If you could please do me a favour, if you could rate and review the podcast, that would be amazing, because it helps get the podcast out to new, conscious people like yourself. And my goal is to awaken as many people around the world. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's YesKingOliver, should you wish to see what I get up to on my day-to-day moments. Back to the episode.
Growing up, every time something really shitty happened to me, I would punish myself and say, why the hell does this happen to me? And I'd look around at everyone that I knew, and they were living what seemed to be a normal life that was easy. And I used to resent people because they were happy and I wasn't. Until I came to a point in my life where I started seeing everything that happened as a test from God, right? And it was like, if you pass each test for as long as they come until I give you them, you will be given the most incredible life. Do you accept the challenge? And it was at that point, I was like, yes. And so now every single time something came into my life that was a big problem, I wouldn't think about it being a negative. I'd see it as a lesson, and God's testing me. How am I going to respond? How am I going to react? What am I going to do? Am I going to blame people? Am I going to self-destruct? Or am I going to create a plan to move forward? Am I going to forgive the person or let go of the thing that's just happened and simply move through the obstacle? And the more I did that, the more I became at peace with myself. And it was like going through a swampy woods, and then all of a sudden, after walking through the woods for miles, it was the coastline, and it was blue sky, and it was amazing sand, amazing water, and that was it. You made it. And having an attitude of when something bad happens, it's not a negative and it is a lesson instead of a loss, is literally the difference between feeling like you are the victim or feeling like you are kind of God's chosen one. Because it's the people that have the most pain, that get through the most pain, end up changing the world, because they know how to heal others because they had to heal themselves.
That was beautiful. I love that. Yeah.
That's it. Just respond to that.
Oh, respond to that. Heck yeah. I love that.
Say whatever.
I love that. Yeah, that was like poetry. Man, I mean, I agree with you. I think that I resonate because I feel as though I am one of those people that is in alignment with that, where my pain has been transmuted into purpose. And because of that, that purpose is now, something that I get to interact with every single day and then invite others to see that within themselves. And I think we're in such an interesting we live in such an interesting time, and I'm very blessed to be alive right now in this era of life and transformation. And the thing that I'm feeling the most connected to when you were speaking through all of that is like, of course, like it was in my brain. It was like cycling through, like, of course, like we get a choice. We're born with this choice, right? Sometimes we don't think we have that choice because we live in a victim mindset that prohibits us from recognizing that it's even a choice. But once we have the recognition of like, oh, I get to wake up every single day and be born again and choose to show up differently and choose to show up with a little bit more love and choose to show up with a little bit more light, then why would I choose any other path but that? You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, like the world's made up of dark and light and night and day and yin and yang and sperm and egg. Everything is made up of the polarity of two things. So it's almost like, why would we only focus on one? It is always both. So if there's a bad, there's also going to be good. And if there is good, something bad might come. Prepare for that, as opposed to just always focusing on the thing that you're focused on at the time. And all these situations end up becoming, the purpose of life. Like, what is life? To evolve our spirit, to raise our vibration, to connect with other people through moving through different paradigms, and not just so focused on one thing at one time, and allowing us to keep floating through change and accepting change and letting go of change, and not holding on to the good all the time and knowing it's going to pass. And that balance, but like that wisdom of knowing that the good will end and the bad will also end. So always stay neutral and try to just like be happy and present at all times with whatever's in front, because that is life. It's both. It's going to be sunny and then it's going to be raining, and our job is to simply see the beauty in everything. And I think if people can do that, then they have mastered life, because then they really truly get life, which is, it's almost like we're alive and then we're dead. Which is exactly the two things that polarity is.
Yeah, it's equanimity. I really like that. I think that's a word I keep hearing tossed around a lot in the yoga realm, especially in trainings and stuff where people are talking about the idea. I mean, the whole point of yoga, and I can speak from this through the lens of my studies, is equanimity. To get to that point where we are no longer attached to good or bad or right or wrong or up and down or, love or hate or whatever it is. It's recognizing that duality is us. And when we are equanimous, we allow ourselves to hold space for both the light and the dark to exist at the same time, or to move, ebb and flow exactly as they need. And in that is our greatest ability to be the most alive, because we're not striving anymore to get to the light, and we're also not pushing away the darkness. And I feel rather that has been the most transformative in my even personal life. Is anytime I've tried to push away darkness, I create excess suffering. And anytime I'm so focused and attached on wanting to access the light, I create excess suffering. So it's the ability to be exactly where you are, no matter where that is, and allow it to unfold, and know that both are necessary. And that's when we get into conversations of, if we're existing so much in the light that we're ignoring the dark, we create suffering. But if we're also not acknowledging that there is light and we just remain in the darkness because it feels familiar or comfortable or safe, then we also prevent ourselves from experiencing all of the beauty and joy and pleasure that this life also has to offer us. So it really is a dance of the two. And I think with especially yoga, specifically in the way that I've connected and taught and embodied that, it's the goal of being able to like recognize and feel it all and be with it all and embody it all. And then remember that home base or your foundation is that equanimity, your ability to be neutral. So I love, yeah, that you said that.
And like when we take a drug and we create this excessive amount of dopamine, the come down is our brain counteracting the dopamine. So it's almost like it removes our natural dopamine to balance out the excessive amount of dopamine. So even in our bodies, it's saying that you can't have too much of one and it will always balance out. So you can't have too much good because it will balance out. And if there's any pain, it will also balance out. So then it's like, well, what is pain and good? Well, it's us identifying a situational experience as what we deem as good or not. But it could be bad to someone else if it's good to us, and it could be good to someone else if it's bad to us. So then it's like, wow, it's all our own perception anyway, because, you know, if I have a high pain tolerance and someone's like stamping on my toe, it's going to be painful for me, but for someone else, it's nothing and they might enjoy it. So then it's like, well, there's really no such thing as good or bad. It's like we give it that. So then what is it? It's just like a range of emotions and feelings and sensitivities.
Yeah, we create it. I mean, we are the greatest creators. And I think it's so beautiful to remember that, because we have the potential to create so much light. We have the potential to create so much darkness, and we have the potential to shift it at any moment in time. And it's our ability to recognize our own potential and to align it with what is the most highest good for humanity in the world and ourselves and each other, that, you know, can be extremely transformative. And I think that it's really interesting to talk about paradigm and perspective. And a lot of our paradigms, a lot of our perspectives are developed from our programming and the way that we, you know, were raised, or the way that we were wired as kids, and how that has played out and how we live our lives and how we move through the world, how we see things. Me 10 years ago versus me today, me even 5 months ago versus me today, are drastically different. And the paradigm is continuing to evolve because I am choosing for it to evolve. I am seeing in ways that I haven't seen before. And because of that, it's allowing me to recognize, you know, the ways that I am showing up and to change them if it's not aligning with what is best for me and my highest good, or for the highest good of those around me. It's so interesting how we are these deep creators of reality, yet we also create some of the most intense disconnection from reality if we are not aware of, or maybe if we haven't woken up to our own awareness of ourselves and the world around us, and the way that life has unfolded out of our patterns and out of our habits and out of our rituals and out of our choices and our perspectives.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but you're in a situation and you become aware of yourself in that situation and the room and what's happening in the room. And then you've got this choice where you can choose to say something knowing that it's going to create a reaction or response and going to create a conversation, and it's going to lead to specific people talking about specific things, which is going to lead to specific outcomes and results. Or you can choose not to, or you can choose to say something else, and it will create a whole new paradigm shift in the room. But the art of having that awareness of, I'm going to create and shape my reality right now by the exact words and framings of what I'm going to say, versus just you're there, it's coming out, and then you're in the moment, and then you look back of, oh, that was a situation that happened. But being conscious of, okay, exactly what I say right now is going to be the difference between that happening and that happening, and then seeing it unfold, seeing those conversations play out as you knew they would, and being like, holy shit, I just created that. All of that was created because of me choosing to say that at that time exactly like that, as opposed to just not being aware of that. Have you ever done anything like that before, where you're becoming aware of yourself in space, creating that, as opposed to just like just doing it?
Totally. Totally. Especially with teaching yoga, because often for me, if I come in with this if I come in with too much structure, that structure becomes a cage. But if I
Yes.
come in with enough structure that it becomes a channel, then I'm able to download information through, whatever it is, my relationship to source or my relationship to a version of myself and what I've learned or what I've, embodied, and pulled that into my teachings versus pulling from this like knowledge box of facts or knowledge box of things that I've planned out to say or planned out to teach. So yeah, every single day that's an interaction I have where I'm aware when I'm trying too hard, or I'm aware when I'm trying to push a reality that might not need to be pushed in that moment. And then the gift is when I recognize it, but then actually take an action where I actually surrender to that moment and allow for whatever is meant to come through, or whatever is meant to be, or whatever I'm meant to teach to be voiced and to be experienced. So totally. And I think it comes about even stronger in moments of heightened awareness or synchronicity, or for me, travel for sure. There's a lot of times where I acknowledge the way that I've been moving or the way that I've tried to move. And when you're forced to let go and when you're forced to just be as you are, often there's more magic that is able to be felt and shared and cultivated when you have the ability to channel or download from something that either something that is within you, but also deeply connected to you and beyond you.
Yeah. So what's coming to mind is whenever there is resistance of any form, you recognize it. And then if it happens again, it's, okay. Okay. So now there's a third time, it's definitely a go back. And then it happens again for the third time, and then you surrender. So rather than trying to control a narrative, because say you wanted to go over there and you're like, right, I'm not having anything telling me I can't get there. I'm going past the barriers, like recognizing the resistance and surrendering, and just like letting you be guided to where you're supposed to be energetically versus where your mind wants to be. And that comes down to you'll always get what you need versus not what you want. And when you think about that, it makes us wonder, why do we actually need to plan if we always end up in the same place anyway where we're supposed to be? And most stuff that we plan doesn't go to plan. So it's like, do we need to plan? Is there a world where we literally can just show up with nothing but trust, and that is enough? Like, is there a world where we can just do that and it's always okay?
Interesting. That's really interesting. I think that I would like to say yes, but I feel differently.
Hang on, you've gone mute. I can't hear. Nope, still on mute. Now try pulling out. So you've actually got mute. You've got mute on the top right hand screen.
Okay.
So if you like go to the bottom. Okay, you're back. You're back.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow, maybe that was a little universal blip.
You didn't even touch anything. How
Pause.
weird.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
anyway.
I didn't touch anything. Okay, pulling it all back. I would like to say yes, because often that's actually how I do move through the world. And there's something that I've recently stepped into that has shifted a lot for me with planning. Because for me, planning used to feel like I was going to be trapped, because I would try so hard to give myself a plan of like, this is who I'm going to be and how I'm going to be and where I'm going to be. And especially with teaching. I was like, I need to have everything mapped out, everything structured, everything ready so that I don't forget, or so that I'm ready for any scenario. And what I realized with that is that spontaneity offers so much room for magic, and space offers room for magic. And so when we're trying to plan, we often crowd that space with noise, and then it doesn't leave that room for things to unfold in a way that they need to, like you said, rather than maybe we want them to. And recently, I've really acquired this idea over the last couple of years of my life, but implemented it even more in new ways, of structured freedom, where structure allows us to be free. Having a foundation, having a structure gives us the space to then fill it in, to color it, to paint it, to create whatever it is that we want within that structure. But without the structure, there can be too much space and too much room that often doesn't allow us to be led to that place where we need to be. And so I've found that recently, within my personal realm, within my work, within the way I even teach yoga, having a structure or a plan is beautiful and can offer even more freedom and even more sense of trust and connectedness when it's not overpowered, when it's not the end all be all. Like, it's there, but you don't have to fill that structure in beforehand. You can leave it open so that there is room for whatever gifts need to come through. And I think that's what feels most true for me right now.
So it's almost like when a comedian will go on stage and he's got his 15 jokes, but he will always ad-lib in between. He's got the structure and he's got the ability to be free-spirited and flow in the moment. And he also has the choice of not to use the structure and the plan that he's written. But what you're saying is that it's very important to have a plan, even if we know we might not use the plan, versus just not having a plan. And it's the art of having like the routine and the structure that makes the human physical body feel like it's got control, even though it's probably not going to lead to the outcome being any better. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah, it gives our nervous system, specifically our autonomic nervous system, it makes us feel safe. It makes us feel grounded. It makes us feel connected or in control. But the beauty is when we have an awareness, a really refined awareness that things are going to unfold as they need to unfold, and that we often can't control the universe, but we can control how we respond to it. So that connection point to self, to knowing that I can create a structure, and if it goes that way, great, but if it doesn't, great. And remaining open as a being, open as a channel, is so important, because often that structure will shift shapes and it will, metamorphosize into something else that we might not have expected, but is better than what we could have expected. So we have such limited minds and such limited perspectives often in this very form-filled matrix that we exist in. So when we're able to peel away the layers and know that, like, the structure is there, but it's going to shift and it's going to flow and it's going to change shapes and form, that allows us to then adapt with it and move with it. And our nervous system feels safe, but then it also feels alive, and it feels exciting, and it feels fresh, and it feels like there's endless possibilities, because there are.
So you've obviously gone traveling, and so I'm going around Asia for 4 months in December, and I'm just booking a flight to Singapore, and that is it. I'm just literally letting the universe just guide me where I need to be. But what I'm hearing from you is that I need to have some form of plan, such as Singapore 3 weeks, Malaysia 3 weeks, Cambodia 4 weeks, Vietnam 6 weeks. Even if it doesn't go to plan, still write the plan, so my brain feels some form of comfort and safety, knowing that I have actually got a plan to fall back on, and I'm not just literally in the dark traveling around Asia on a fucking whim, or trusting like angels will guide me towards people, and they'll be going to Thailand, and then I'll end up in Thailand.
Yeah, I think that I've actually played around with a little bit of everything, where I create some sense of structure of in the same way for my travels. Even recently, I was in Europe, and when I was there, I had planted a seed that I was going to go from one country to the other country. I had no idea how I was going to get there. I had no idea what the timing was going to be, or the exact dates were going to be, or where I was going to stay, or how long. It was like I planted the seed, and I had the idea of like, that's where I'm going. So I started to speak it into existence of, after this time, I'm going here. And so I would tell everyone. So everyone was like, oh yeah, aren't you going here? And I was like, yeah. And there's a little part of my brain that knew, you literally have nothing planned, except you just keep telling everyone you're going to that place. So you know you're going to that place. And then what happened is, when the time came and this time started to dwindle down, I was starting to develop more structure for the plan, but again, there was freedom within it, where it wasn't like, I'm going here at this day and doing these things with this person. It was like, I have an idea, so I'm going to plant the seed, and then I'm just going to water the seed, and then continue to water it and continue to water it, and eventually it will grow. So it's like, we're not drowning the seed with water, but we're also not avoiding it and being like, okay, I hope you grow without water and sunshine and food and light or whatever it is you need. We still take care of our needs and give ourselves the structure and the basic things that we need to know that we're going to be okay and that we're going to end up somewhere. But the freedom is, okay, I'm going to Asia. I could end up wherever, however, and that is where some of the most incredible experiences can unfold. So it's not pulling that away, but yeah, giving yourself a loose line of what feels resonant for you, what feels exciting for you, what feels alive for you, what feels warm for you, and then utilizing that as your framework. And then you fill in the framework. And then if you end up getting to Singapore and you're like, I'm going to stay here for the next month, great. If you end up getting to, Thailand or Malaysia and you're like, I actually only want to spend a few days here, or you meet someone and you end up traveling with them, it's like, that's where the freedom to kind of go with the flow offers us, such a gift that we often drown when we try to plan too much. So it's definitely a balance, and you only know that personal balance for what feels right in your nervous system and what feels right in your energetic body.
So let's just say that you had this plan of going to Vietnam after Thailand. Did you find that when you were saying you're going to, say, Vietnam, that you were essentially trying to, like, obviously you want to go there, but you were hoping that people along the way will be like, oh yeah, that sounds great, I should come with you? So were you literally manifesting your reality of getting people to like come with, or were you, say, having in the back of your mind of, well, I'm saying this, but I know full well if somebody says they're going to there, I may just go there, and then seeing like where the pull is, and then being absolutely okay with saying, oh, by the way, I'm not going to Vietnam anymore, I'm going there instead. But you're sort of, every time you speak it out, you're seeing the response. Is there more people saying, oh yeah, that sounds great, I'd love to come with you, so you're being pulled towards the Thailand bit, for example? Or are you like saying stuff out loud in hope that you'll be convinced otherwise, and seeing if there's someone else that's going to happen, and then going back there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really is dependent upon your intention. Because if your intention is to travel with other people, and that's why you're traveling and that's why you're going somewhere, then maybe the way that you would approach that is vocalizing it so that you can attract and invite in people to have those experiences with you. In my scenario, it wasn't for that reason. I wasn't seeking other people to come with me. I was developing the courage to trust that I was going to end up in the place that I wanted to be in. So it was more the place that I felt attracted to, knowing that I wanted to be in this place. I already knew I had like a friend there, but I wanted to plant the seed for myself that I was going to get the courage, the money, the time, the space, everything was going to align for me to end up in that place for a chunk of time. And so me speaking it aloud was me also telling my own brain and different parts of my brain that this was a reality, so that my brain actually started to find ways to make it a reality. So it was utilizing neuroscience and manifestation and the interconnectedness of the two to birth it into reality, versus, if and you can utilize that same modality for manifesting people to come with you, or if you're looking for spontaneity and that's what feels right for you, and you're not attached to a place or exactly where you want to be, then of course, yeah, you can speak it out loud and offer it as like I'm looking for people, and call that in of like, I want to travel with people to any of these places. So it really depends on like, what is your intention and what are you seeking? Of course, within that, remaining open again as a channel for things to change or transform, because maybe something that you didn't expect, or the destination shifts, or the people you go with shift. And, the people I ended up meeting on the travels that I went on, I was like, that was so unexpected. But the timing of it was so divine, and it makes so much sense in the way that I had taken the time to intentionally plant those seeds over months beforehand.
Yeah, what's coming to me now is that, I plan to say go in December, but I very may well end up going in January, or I could end up going in November. And the different people that I would meet compared to if I went in January versus November, it's a whole new world, whole new group of people, whole new intentions, whole new everything. So it's like, if I could plan something, how can it be like so perfect, and it's like, well, the universe knows that those specific people are going to be in those places at that time, so you're guided towards December versus November. There's a different type of people and crowd in November which are not your people, so therefore you're not being called to November. So it's like the timing of everything is so accurate. It's like the position of where we are in space and where everyone else is in space is so perfectly accurate, the same as you can shoot a rocket and have it land in a specific like access point on the earth. Like it's the same thing. It's like, how does a big rocket like that land exactly in there? And it's the same thing. How often do you play around with like unconscious manifestations? So let's just say you are in Bali, and rather than saying it out loud like you were doing, you just are waiting for people to pick up on such things and say, where are you going next? And then you say Thailand, or you attract people who are going Thailand and you go, me too. So there's no words. It's just like you're magnetically gravitating the right people towards you unconsciously versus consciously, just for fun.
Yeah, I love that. I think I would actually say subconsciously versus unconsciously, because subconsciously we have the structure in the subconscious mind. It's like our software system of what we feed ourselves lives there, in the sense that what we consume over periods of times and the beliefs that we have fed ourselves and learned live in that subconscious. And so when we're moving in the world, we're often moving most of the time from our subconscious minds. And when I think of like unconscious, I'm thinking of like sleep, where we can manifest in that space. At least I like to believe so. But subconsciously is where things are programmed. So often when I'm doing like some sort of manifestation for future, for whatnot, it's in the subconscious work that then you live out of that programming. So then the way that you are vibrationally aligned with the world is what is going to attract those scenarios that triggers something in the subconscious that's like, oh yeah, I'm going there too, or oh yeah, I want that too, or the synchronicities that match up of you meeting someone else in this place at that time. It's because what I would like to believe in, and especially within my realm of like hypnosis work, when you feed your mind different ways of being, or you feed your mind the things that you dream of, it's often connected to feeling the way you want to feel. and your feeling is connected to like how you relate to the world, how you show up. People are attracted to frequency, they're attracted to feeling. And so when you're moving from a specific frequency based off what it is that you planted in the seeds of your mind, then you are going to, of course, attract someone who reflects that, whatever that is, right? So then when you're in, Bali, let's say, and you're on the beach and you meet someone that also is going to Thailand in a week and things line up, it's like, of course, like that's how it feels to me, where it's like, duh, of course it's aligning, because the seeds that I've been feeding in the subconscious mind and that they've been feeding, we might consciously not be aware that we've both manifested these things, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're in this place in this time together. But it's through that progressiveness that bridges us together to those synchronicities. So I do believe that, it's out of that space that we get in touch with how we want to feel. And then when we move from that space and we actually step into relating to the world through the frequencies that we have developed and created, then those experiences come through with such great clarity that to the conscious mind, you might think it's cool and be like, wow, this is so cool. We have aligned and we're this, and I'm going with you and let's do that. But subconsciously, you both were walking that path to get there.
Yeah, so like the magic of the 3 stages of when you suddenly become aware of like, oh, this is so cool, I was thinking the same, what's the chances? And then the second phase of, well, I know this happens, and you wait for it to happen. And then the third phase is, well, I just know that's what happens, and that's what happens. And when it happens, it's just, you're not even thinking about, oh, this just happened, I was thinking about that. It's just like automatic, where it's all in like real time. It's you're just going with it. There's no questioning. There's no, oh, this is amazing, of what's the chances. It's just, this is how the world works. This is how it works. It's the laws. And then just like sitting in that gratitude and like love of, this is how the world works. And I'm so grateful to not just be in it, but understanding that I'm also in it. There's one thing like it showing up and being excited that something's happening, and then understanding that I've literally created this, I'm aware of how it works, this is amazing, this is what life is like. And you're fortunate that you can become aware and also create this, because so many other people have no clue, would love to know and live like this. And then it's just that reinforcement of, I'm so grateful that I am choosing to, not choosing, but I am living this life in this conscious way. It's a true blessing. And then you just have to serve people, because what else you do when you're so grateful, apart from give that energy and love and gratitude back?
It becomes an expectation. I like that, where you're talking about the reinforcement of it. We then expect it. We then expect things to go well for us. We then expect that even in the darkness, there's healing and lessons to be learned. Yes. We start to, it's literally the expectation outcome, where we then start to move as if the world is not working against us, but rather with us. And I think that, talking about feeding yourself, it's not toxic positivity. It's not, spiritual bypassing of like, oh, things are always perfect and things are always great and I attract everything easily and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you feed yourself stories, and then the stories you feed yourself become the life that you live. And it's one of the things that when you start to expect for things to work out, they do work out. You're telling your brain, you're feeding your brain a narrative that your brain then is going to have to find that result in the world around you. It is going to have to create it in the world around you. And so, it's a really interesting thing to consider, but also to experience when you are in those moments where like, oh my gosh, I literally thought of this and now it's here. I literally expected this to be my reality and now I'm in it. It's such an epic feeling, and it just cultivates a deeper sense of gratitude, which you're talking about already, that then unfolds into more gratitude, which attracts more of those things and attracts more of the expectations for things to work out. And then when they don't work out as planned, you're not like, wow, the world's against me or things are against me. You recognize that as, oh, I need to go somewhere else, or oh, the world it's rewiring me on purpose. Or when you lose someone, or when things are hard or dark, it's like you don't look at it through the lens of, grief in relationship to negativity, but grief in relationship to equanimity, where it is what it is, and it's supposed to be that way, and you continue to move however you need to move to either move through it or to feel it deeper, or whatever needs to be experienced. But yeah, it's a snowball effect. It grows bigger and stronger the more that you fine tune those instruments.
Well said. If you had one day left to live, what is the one thing that you would tell the rest of the world?
If love is your guide, there is no reason to fear the way. And to go off of it just a little, when you look at the world around you through eyes of love, like deep love, not love with attachments, not love, for expectation of receiving something, but simply love because it all exists and because you exist, then there's no reason to fear your path. There's no reason to fear the world around you, because you will be guided by that love. So whatever you experience, whatever darkness comes into your realm or your life, it can be transmuted through those eyes of love into more light, more love, and more peace.
And finally, do you have anything you want to promote or plug before we finish?
I would say for sure my Instagram at Growth of Mind. I'm sharing some epic retreats that I'll have this next year in Italy and in Costa Rica, and they'll be linked in my bio.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please remember to subscribe, turn the bell notifications on, like the episode, and comment below. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's YesKingOliver. Take a look at the other videos to your side. And if you just want to listen to this podcast, you can do so on Apple and Spotify and most other platforms by going to talkwitholiver.com.